What's up, everybody? Welcome to my August review. In case you don't know me, my name is Eric. I've been trading prop firms now for 3 years, and I figured I would go ahead and go over my entire month here of August. It was a very, very rough month. If you've seen any of my daily recaps, that I had a lot of struggles, but there was also a lot of positives that I could take away from August, including an actual payout as well. So I figured I'd try to go ahead and do this basically every month, where I just go over my entire month. I go over what went right, what went wrong, and what we can improve on, and what we look to do in the future month. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into my August. All right, so to start off here, we're gonna go over my statistics. So in case you don't know, I trade with prop firms. If you've been following me, that I've been trading strictly with Tradeify in the month of August. I used to trade with Apex Trader Funding, but then I decided to basically switch over to Tradeify late July and then into August. And with that, I purchased one straight to funded 50K Lightning account. With that account, I was able to successfully go ahead and get into a payout. That payout was completed here on Tuesday, the 5th. This day, I was able to request a payout. So as you can see, I only take one, maybe two trades a day. So in the beginning part of the month, you'll see these one trade, two trades, one trade. And then later on, I ended up actually purchasing 4 more straight to funded Lightning accounts for a total of 5 accounts. So when you start seeing these like 5 trades and 10 trades and things like that, that's still only 1 or 2 trades. So if you see 5 trades, that's 1 trade. If you see 10 trades, that was only 2 trades. So just keep that in mind, because it's basically 1 trade times 5 accounts. So anyways, after I got my payout here on Tuesday, August the 5th there, we finished the week off pretty strong there when I was still trading the 1 account. And then as you can see, I started to really struggle in the middle of the month here. We had a loss, a break-even trade that should have been a win, and then 3 losses in a row. And then Tradeify had a sale, so I went ahead and purchased more accounts. And essentially, that's when I started trading these 5 accounts, and everything kind of started to go downhill. I do apologize for the way that this looks here, but Tradeify right now, this is the Tradeify journal, by the way. The website got really jacked up on Friday, and so the journal is still down. So I had to basically just kind of fill this in. And these stats right here, as you can see, like the profit factor and the trade win percentage is not all the way correct. These stats are really off because, again, I started to add more accounts. So of course it's gonna show that I was losing more than I really was, because again, it's only per account. So anyway, just kind of look at these stats right here, okay? We got to look at some different things here, because you'll have a lot of people online post their prop firm profits in their calendar or whatever, and there'll be huge profits like, oh, I made 100K this month. But did you really? Like, that's not really taking out actual cash in your pocket. So I like to look at, like, what am I actually putting into my pocket? Right here we have our prop total, right? That is what's going to be the amount that I profited total with the prop firms this month. That is a minus $446. That is including these bigger losses, of course, when I started to add the other accounts. So that's what I mean, like these stats are kind of off. When we go into September, it's going to be a lot better, okay? The total payouts was $2,000 payout, but then the Tradeify takes 90%, so we made $1,800. And then we had expenses because I bought those new accounts of $1,102. So my total pocket profits, what I actually put in my pocket, right, after all the expenses and everything, was $698. Some of the expenses here were not just the 4 new accounts that I bought through Tradeify. Apex had a sale going on this last Thursday as well. I actually ended up buying an eval with them that was $17. And then I was able to pass that eval in 1 day, and then the activation fee was only $85. So I spent about $100. I'm rocking with 1 Apex PA account. And then I'm also rocking with 4 straight to funded Tradeify accounts, because unfortunately on this day right here, you see I went a minus 1807. On that day, I actually ended up blowing the account that I took a payout on. So just keep that in mind, that going into September here, I basically have 4 straight to funded Lightning accounts with Tradeify. And then I also have 1 Apex account. The other thing I wanted to go ahead and show y'all real quick is my Google Sheet that I made that you can get for absolutely free in the link below. You just have to put in your email address and then you can download this for free. I've showed this several times on my channel, but this is how I keep track of those actual, what I like to call pocket profits. Not just prop firm profits, because that doesn't count. It's how much you're actually putting in your pocket after expenses. So right here, we have my income and expense tracker. And I just want to show, like, this is the income. You can see the $1,800 payout that I got right there. And then we have the graph. That's my total income this year. And then we have our expense tracker with all of my expenses from the year, which is a lot. But you can see I put in the new expenses for my new Apex expenses right there, and my Tradeify expenses with the new accounts that I bought for $250 each. Those are my total expenses for the year, and then my total profit. It's very sad. I know I have a lot of expenses. That's why it's important. Keep track of this. Anybody can get payouts, but how much are you spending to get those payouts? It's so important. So again, download this for absolutely free down below. It's very convenient. These sheets that have the graphs on it, you don't even have to touch. You just insert the data on those expense overview and income tracker sheets. And there's a video down below as well that explains exactly how to use this. But again, I just wanted to real quick show exactly what my profit is from August here. As you can see, $1,800 minus that $1,100. So we're at $698 in profit there. So I just wanted to show that very quickly. Now let's go ahead and get back into the presentation. What went right? Number one, discipline. I never went on a full tilt. Even the days, I like to take one trade a day. But I had some days where I would jump back into a trade or something like that, and I would basically take another trade. To me, that's not tilt. Even after those 2 losses in a row, I would then just shut it down. I would walk away from the desk. To me, that is a huge improvement, because there were a lot of times, that's why I have so many expenses from prop firms, where I would just go on full tilt and I would just completely black out and blow the account. Not even giving myself a chance to think about the trades and improve and come back the next day. So that was number one thing that went right this month, was the discipline. The other thing that went really well is no strategy hopping. Earlier this year, I haven't really talked about it, and actually through my 3 years of just trading props in general, I have strategy hopped a lot. I've gone from like order blocks, I've done supply and demand, I've done some other stuff, I've traded at night, I tried to trade Asian session, London session, name it. I've done a lot of things where I would just keep on strategy hopping. That's probably the number one worst thing that you can possibly do. So there was none of that, even though I did make some adjustments to my opening range 15-minute breakout strategy. I never really strayed away from my actual strategy. The other thing that we did right is, of course, get a payout. We got a payout the first time ever trading with Tradeify, and the first account I got with them, and we were able to lock in a payout within just 14 days. So to me, that was a lot of successes. We definitely got to look at our successes and not just our failures. Now, what went wrong? Fun part. Well, number one is execution. Probably one of my biggest things. I hesitated a lot of times after I started catching those losses. I started to hesitate and doubt myself. And then I would wait for a worse setup and I would like FOMO into the move. So I definitely need to work on my execution. The other thing that would help me work on my executions is taking A+ setups. I took a lot of trades where I did not take A+ setups straight up. They were like B setups. Sometimes they weren't the worst. I was taking trades that were going into like a support or a resistance, things of that sort, where I was trying to like break through that instead of being more patient and waiting for that support and resistance to actually break before I take a trade. The other thing that went wrong was, of course, the lack of confidence. And I would say that kind of is a trickle down thing here. It's like you're not taking good setups, so then you're doing bad executions, and then that then returns into lack of confidence. I just did not trust myself a lot of times. I did not trust my strategy. I started to doubt myself, and that led to more losses. What are going to be the actionable steps that I'm going to take in September and moving forward with my trading? Well, number one, pretty simple. I'm only going to take A+ setups. Number two, I'm going to have strict entry criteria. And number three, I'm going to let these stats play out. Because the other thing that I didn't mention about confidence was I had about 3 to 4 trades where I was moving my stop to break even. Horrible decision. I had a couple trades where I moved my stop to break even, got stopped out break even, and then it went to my profit. Horrible. I kind of want to just dig deeper into these actionable steps and what's going to actually happen and what this actually looks like when we're going to break things down. An A+ setup for my strategy is going to be, I'm only going to take trades towards the trend. One of my favorite indicators that I use, a lot of people don't like it, whatever, is the 200 EMA. It's something that I've actually used my entire trading career, and it's something that I continue to use because it works so well to let me know exactly what the trend is, especially on the higher time frames. So I like to look at the 15-minute a lot as that higher time frame. And a lot of times I was taking trades this month where I was fighting that 200 EMA on the 15-minute time frame. I'm only going to take trades based on that 15-minute 200 EMA. And I'll show an example of that in just a moment. The other thing I got to make sure of is all my confluences line up with the trend as well. And then we also need to make sure that we're looking at that support and resistance, that we're not longing into resistance and we're not shorting into a support. So now let's dive into the chart so I can show you an exact example of what I mean by an A+ setup. Let me go ahead and show y'all an example of what an A+ setup is for my strategy. For the sake of convenience here, I'm just gonna go ahead and go over the trade the trade that should have been taken on Friday, where we had that big dump here. So here is the 200 EMA on the 15-minute chart. This is the 15-minute chart. So this is an A+ setup. I always like to mark the previous day low, and a lot of times you don't have to mark the exact previous day low. You should mark where you have multiple touches of support. As y'all can see, multiple touches from the day before, and then even in the pre-market. So this is the level right here, and this is what I mean by an A+ setup. We are below everything here. We are below this green line, which is my VWAP. We are below the 200 EMA on the 15-minute chart. And we are below the 21, which is the blue, and the 9 EMA. So everything is pointing down. Means this is an A+ setup. Now let me switch to the 5-minute. Now we got this break below the previous day low, which gives us plenty of room to target all the way down to this resistance here, or this support right here. So I'll just draw this out. So this is an A+ setup where I say, okay, we got a break. Now let's wait for a retest here of the previous day low. And then we will look to enter to target this support right here. That is an A+ setup. Everything lined up perfectly. On the entry criteria, I'm waiting for the 15-minute opening range to form. Once that forms, I need a 5-minute candle to close outside of the opening range. And then we're gonna look at the 2-minute and the 5-minute as well. And I'm gonna be a little bit more patient because I was rushing into trades with this. We're gonna wait for a 2-minute candle pullback, but we wanna see at least 2 candles kind of pull back, right? To form what I like to say is a flag, a bear or a bull flag. We're gonna wait for that, or an actual touch into the 9 EMA, and then we can look to enter a trade towards the trend. So let's go ahead and look at an example here on the charts of what exactly I mean on my entry criteria. Let me go ahead and show you exactly what the entry criteria would look like from that trade on Friday. So to start off here, we have the 15-minute range form, first 15 minutes, and we break the range, as you can see on the 5-minute chart, and we have a 5-minute candle break and a 5-minute candle close, this candle close. Now I can switch to the 2-minute chart. So let me go ahead and do that. Switch to the 2-minute chart here. So now after we got that 5-minute close, I wait patiently for what? A 2-minute pullback, a 2-minute candle pullback, or a bear flag. A lot of times I was entering off of like one candle, but now I want to look for at least 2 candles or basically a touch of the 9 EMA. So we get this beautiful candle up, and then we get another one right here, which is kind of an indecisive candle, but basically pointing down there and almost touching the 9 EMA. But that's 2 candle pullback where we got this one, and then we got one that went a little bit higher than this one. Now I can go ahead and look to enter a trade. So this is the flag. I'll draw that out. We look for a candle to basically close down below here. And I like to use stop orders, but you would be able to enter any way you want. I would enter right here, as you can see, and what would happen? Beautiful trade all the way down. That is what the perfect entry criteria looks like to me. The third actionable step is going ahead and letting the stats play out. What I mean by that is taking one trade a day, strictly one trade a day, no matter what, back to one trade. Either I lose $250 or I win $500. Simple. The other thing is no break evens. No break evens. We're gonna just let these trades play out. Because I always go for 10 points, the only time I will move my stop up is if we get very close to that 10 points. So if we're getting to like 8, 9 points, something like that, then I can kind of trail my stop up just to lock in that profit. But that is the only time that I should be ever moving my stop, and it should never be break even. Beyond that, and I was really good at this, is just to reiterate that I need to not be taking trades past 10 a.m. my time here in Denver, or that would be 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So these are the actionable steps that I'm going to be taking here going into September. Like I said, I'm going to try to do one of these monthly recaps every month to kind of just hold myself accountable and just give myself a plan and give myself that confidence moving into the next month. And then hopefully we can end this year hella green, right? With the pocket profits, as I say, keeping those expenses low and really starting to gain momentum on getting this prop money, right? And get into those next goals and get into that 10,000 a month or whatever I want to do. I definitely recommend everybody do this. You're not even having to record yourself, but everybody should do a monthly review. You should know exactly what your stats are, what you did wrong, what you need to improve on. So I won't be posting videos next week. If you follow me on my other videos, that I will be out of town. I will be going to Tahoe for a wedding. I do plan to trade. I don't know if I'm gonna trade every day, but I will not be recording myself. So this is the last video y'all will probably see this week. I hope y'all have a great start to September, a great trading week. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the video, of course. Download that expense tracker if you like, and I hope y'all have a good one.